Hey everyone, how's it going? My name is Richard. Welcome to this week's weekly Watchlist video sponsored by MarketSmith. And before we get into my focus list, both in terms of fundamentals and technicals, let me know down below in the comments 3 stocks that you are watching for this week, and also go ahead and leave a like down below as well. Diving right in, let's start with AMAT. And overall, semis have made a little bit of a recovery the past week or so, and it's back above and right near that 50 SMA. So I'm looking for a push through this high on volume or an undercut and reclaim of these key moving averages. And overall, you've got great earnings the past few quarters, great estimates as well, increasing fund ownership, and 2 high-quality funds investing into this company. ASO, a previous watchlist stock through this point right here. Overall, it's pushed up and now is pulling back gently on below average volume to that 21 EMA area. So an undercut and reclaim of that could be actionable, or basically a sideways move and then a push through this kind of level here on above average volume. Eventually, I want to see it challenge this 36.6 pivot or so. But overall, great earnings and sales the past few quarters. Not the greatest estimates, and you only have 174 funds, but you already have 2 high-quality funds investing into this company. And you can see it's a very, basically, it's a top group at this point, so it's a leading stock in a leading group. Moving on, we've got ABNB, and this is a little bit different than my usual setups. I'm looking for a push through this level on volume, which also lines up with this kind of intermediate weekly high last week right here. And overall, I'm looking for a push through that on volume. You can see that this day was very high volume and it was a down day, but there wasn't really any further downside. So this day is kind of like the opposite of a churning day where it's heavy volume without any further downside progress, indicating some type of accumulation. But I wouldn't be surprised if it does undercut this level, so we'll take it day by day and see if we get this set up and potentially start a move upward. You don't have to get it here to profit from ABNB. You could wait until it challenges these all-time highs because the real move is going to happen when that occurs. Moving on, we've got BGFV, or Big 5 Sporting Corp. Overall, fantastic earnings the past few quarters. Good estimates for this year, but not so much for 2022. You don't have increasing fund ownership, and it's below 100 funds, so keep that in mind. And you don't have any high-quality funds in there as well. But overall, a strong move on this earnings gap up. The earnings surprise was plus 92%, and overall, it's flagged nicely here above this level. So I'm looking for a continued move upward through this kind of downward flag right here, and a move up on volume. Moving on, we've got Coursera, another recent IPO that a lot of people have been watching. It has undercut this low, which a lot of them do. So I want to see it push through that level as well as this past weekly high on volume. And overall, you can see nice sales growth the past few quarters. Not supposed to be profitable within the next 2 years. And you've got 70 funds in there and 1 high quality fund in there as well. And you can see it's not a leading group at this moment. Moving on, we've got Crocs, another recent earnings gap up on huge volume. And overall, it's holding this level right here very well. And is also holding the 21 EMA. So I'm looking for a push through these highs on volume and a challenge of previous all-time highs at 109.91. Overall, great earnings and sales the past 2 quarters. Great estimates as well, especially for this year. Increasing fund ownership in 1 high-quality fund. So it looks very strong. And if we go to a monthly, it just broke out above its previous all-time highs. So it has room to run at this point. Moving on, we've got CRWD, Crowdstrike, and this was on my watch list last week. Through this point, it has triggered that, but I'm watching this carefully to see if it kind of retests, flags out, and breaks out again, or if it can move up to this point and then go sideways below this kind of 227.2 pivot and then move up on volume. That's why I'm watching as well. Overall, this is a previous leader. It has run quite a bit. You can see it kind of started its move right here. You've got some turbulence at this point, and then a push upwards. And this is a stage 3 base, so this is a kind of lower quality setup, but it is only a 33% deep base, while a lot of stocks are down 50, 60% from their highs. So in my mind, it is worth watching this one, and you can see fantastic earnings, sales, and margins. Great estimates for 2023, increasing fund ownership and 1 high quality fund in there as well, and you've got earnings in 11 days. Moving on, we've got Dash, and you can see another kind of IPO right near these lows right here, consolidating nicely above that point. And I'm looking for a push through this declining trend line or this horizontal level on volume. And you can see very strong sales the past 4 quarters, not supposed to be profitable within the next 2 years. Already a whole bunch of funds investing in this one and one high quality fund in there as well. Moving on, we've got FNKO, which had a strong move through this pivot here, then a failure of that breakout, but now it's back at all-time highs. I'm watching for a strong move through 25 or potentially this high on Friday on above average volume. And overall, you can see great earnings, especially this past quarter. Strong estimates for 2021 and 2022. Not really an increase in fund ownership over the past 2 years and no high quality funds invested into the stock, but it is in a leading group at this point. Moving on, we've got FOXF, and you can see very strong earnings this past quarter. Earnings up 102%, still up 52%, and staying up nicely below this pivot right here, right above the 21 EMA after a strong move up from the stage 2 base. Decent estimates for 2021 and 2022 in terms of annual EPS. Composite rating is a 99. That's great. Nice increase in fund ownership and one high quality fund in there as well. Moving on, we've got HYRE, which is not actionable at this point, but I'll be watching this one very carefully to see if it kind of pulls back here to this prior pivot 16.27 on below average volume and then forms some type of flag and then pushes out of that on volume. But overall, this day right here is very impressive. Huge move on volume, and it's gone basically from 10 all the way up to 17.37 in just a matter of days, signifying a lot of power. So that is HYRE. Decent sales, not extraordinary sales by any means, not strong estimates, but really this is a play off the chart's strength. Moving on, we've got Path, and overall this is another recent IPO. I'm watching for some consolidation days and then an attempt at this standard IPO-based breakout, which is at 83.4. And overall, nice sales growth and a little bit of earnings growth the past few quarters. Not supposed to be profitable within the next 2 years. Composite rating is only 55, but it is a very recent IPO and no fund information in the stock just yet. Moving on, we've got Roblox, another stock that already broke out, but I'll be watching it carefully for an entry. Maybe some consolidation above the standard IPO-based pivot at 79.1, and then a push through on volume, setting your stop right here around 80. Overall, nice sales growth the past 4 quarters. Already 161 funds invested in the stock and one high-quality fund in there as well. Next up, we've got UPS, not a traditional growth company, but it does have the numbers here. Last quarter earnings up 141%, sales up 27%, margins up 10.6% as well. Nice estimates for this year. Nice increase in fund ownership and one high-quality fund, Fidelity, investing into this company. And overall, looking at the chart, a super strong move off this earnings gap up, and now it's basically gone quiet the past few weeks. If we go to a weekly chart, it might be 3 weeks tight or very close to that. And it's actually kind of 2 inside weeks. So it looks pretty good. A nice decline on below average volume for the most part. And we'll see if it can kind of push up through this pivot and then the 219.59 pivot as well. Moving on, we've got UPST, another stock that's super short-term extended. So I'm not looking to buy it Monday, but I'll be watching this carefully to see if it can kind of pull back here, tighten up on the right-hand side, and then present a good opportunity through these highs on above average volume. So once again, this is very short-term extended. I'm not looking to buy this right away, but because of this powerful move right here, I'm watching this one very, very closely for a potential entry. And overall, fantastic earnings this past quarter. Estimates are ridiculous for 2021. You can see a lot of funds already in this one and one high-quality fund in there as well. Lastly, we've got ZNTL, and overall you can see no real earnings or sales. This is a biotech, but does have increasing fund ownership and 2 high-quality funds in there as well. And looking at the chart, you can see it's right near the pivot of the stage 1 cup, and you can draw a declining trend line here, triggering around 60. So this day right here on Friday wasn't a great one, finishing near the lows, but we'll see if it can kind of form an inside day here and then set up a breakout through this DTL. So that is my plan going into this week, and my top 2 subs are FNKO, Crocs, and AMAT. Don't forget to let me know down below 3 stocks you're looking at as well for next week. Leave a like down below if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe if you want to see more videos just like this one every single week. Have a great rest of your Sunday, and I'll see you guys in future videos.